Special edition from the Star in Frisco is back. It is officially week 7 of the NFL season, and it is the bye week for the Dallas Cowboys at 3-3. Alongside Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, and Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Glad you're with us. Gentlemen, it's not necessarily a lean back, kick up, and kick your feet up type of bye week for the Cowboys because they got beat 47-9 against the Detroit Lions. Not the best showing at AT&T Stadium. But, Barry, bye weeks are important for a lot of reasons. Why is this one important for the Cowboys?
Well, I think it's of the utmost importance, especially after taking a shellacking like they did this past week against the Detroit Lions. I think it gives the players and the coaches an opportunity to look at themselves in the mirror and say, how can we fix this situation? What can I do to better my position on this team to get a better display of, what they can do on the football field for this team? And I think this bye week will give them the opportunity to do so.
And what Barry's talking about when you start talking about listening to Michael Jackson, the man in the mirror, is he wants you to go back and do some self-scouting. You have to go back and watch those games. As hurtful as they might be, you have to be real with yourself. Go back, look at your scorecards that your coaches give you after every game and see exactly play-by-play what you did well, what you did not do, what you could have done, opportunities that you missed so that you can have them in the back of your mind for these next games that you can go out there and take care of your assignments.
The injuries that had mounted up to this point, to the bye week, they're going to be working on that, trying to get these guys back on the field, the Blands of the world. We're going to see where Parsons is sitting. And our youth, Tyler Guyton, he missed the last game. So they got to get these guys healthy. And once again, the man in the mirror, look at yourself and see what you can do to help this team be better.
And we're going to hit elements of all three of those reasons later in the show because it is important for the Cowboys. But one that stood out to Mike McCarthy was the self-scouting aspect. It's all about getting better in-house before you can really look outside the house.
They're an excellent football team. They're playing very well, and I give them the credit. But at the end of the day, if we totally don't believe it's about us, and it'll always be about us, and play to who we are, what we do, how we do it, then we're not going to get to where we want to go. And I believe we will. And I think this is an opportunity that we relish. I know I relish it, and I think they do too. So this is a place that a lot of good can come out of it.
And here's one spot where they can start, the broken house, as they call it. The Cowboys, in their 3 losses this year, have not been able to stop the run, and they have not been able to establish the run on offense. And so at this point in time, part of the problem last year, of course, in the playoff game specifically against the Green Bay Packers, was stopping the run and running the football. Barry, is there any level of confidence in those 2 areas so far?
Not to me. When you look at it, I think it boils down to 2 things. One, that they're playing a first-place schedule, so the level of competition is a lot higher than it was last year. And also, if I'm being honest, if you look at it offensively and defensively, this team is not playing as well as it did last year. Defensively, like you just said, they're not stopping the run, they're not getting after the quarterback, and they're not taking the football away. Offensively, they're one of the worst teams in the red zone. All right, you got to score touchdowns instead of field goals, and then on third down, they're one of the worst teams as well. Those to me are recipes, whether you're home or away, not to win games.
That's the recipe, and that's not a cake you want to be baking. And then the reality is the Cowboys are not what they were last year to date. That's not where they're at. So you have to go back and say, okay, what is it that we were doing well last year up into that playoff game to find out exactly who you need to be going forward? Because right now, I'm not sure that you have an identity.
And what you were last year was the team that took away the football. You almost led the league in interceptions. You were high in sacks. You were right in the middle with fumbles. That's just who you got to get back to. But you can only do that with your starting players.
And you got to do so by addressing the film and figuring out some of the elements of what you've done wrong. Self-scouting. It's kind of what we talked about with what Mike McCarthy mentioned, and that's what we're going to do when we come back with more Special Edition. Isaiah Stanback takes us to the telestrator, breaking down some of the red zone concerns for this Cowboys offense.
Special Edition, presented by AT&T, is brought to you by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Reliant, official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. And by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.
first and foremost, we always talk about touchdowns in the red zone, but first and foremost is always preserve points when we get in there. So certainly a focal point, because those change the tide of the game, and we're well aware of that moving forward, that we got to protect the ball first and foremost there to preserve points. And then just as far as the turnovers, it's always a work in progress. The way I look at it is you're 6 weeks in. If this was hockey, we're through the first period. We've got 2 periods to go, and there'll be a focal point this bye week. It always is. Like, that's the number one thing in our job description as quarterbacks, is taking care of the ball, and we'll be better moving forward.
Yeah, it might be only period 1 if we're talking about hockey, but at the same time, you can win a game and lose a game in the first period as well. He's a fan of the Seattle Kraken, so he knows just what it means to lose in the first period. Isaiah, stand back, break things down in terms of the film, though. And you're really good at the film side of things, maybe not the hockey. You look a little rusty there.
I'm trash here.
I want you to tell me about these red zone struggles. Scott Tolzien talked about it initially there. It hasn't been pretty, but there's time to fix it. How do the Cowboys get it done?
Yeah, we're going to address this thing real quick. We're going to give you guys 4 different snapshots in terms of things that are contributing to the Dallas Cowboys being ranked 30th out of 32 teams in the red zone. Something that has to improve. Let's take a look at what are the issues. Well, first of all, you cannot turn the ball over. Here is CeeDee Lamb against the Baltimore Ravens. When you have a guy, you get the ball to him, you expect him to make plays. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. You're going to see motion come across the formation. Brandon Cooks, boom, at the bottom of your screen. Boom, pause everything right there. You have a nice little route right here by CeeDee Lamb. It's a slant. What is Dak looking for? He's looking for this hole right here. What does he get? He gets that hole right there, gets the ball in the hands of his number 1 playmaker. Boom, there we go, completion. Oh! Cookies. Ball is on the ground. Got hand caught with your hand in the cookie jar. That's something that you cannot afford. You got to make sure that you convert on those plays and not give it to the other team.
But it's not just turnovers. It's also missed opportunities. What happened on this play?
Yeah, here we go right here. Okay, let's look in the backfield. So, all right, you try to talk about your running game, okay? All right, so you get a little bit of play action, okay? You get your boy Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield, and you get him wide open. You finally get something wide open. You get your tight ends out, and by getting your tight ends out, you know you're going to have pressure right here off the edge. So what does that free up? It frees up your man in the back. Boom, come out here and play action. You know you're going to have that man in your face. You get the ball out, but it's behind them. There's an impossible pass to catch. If Ezekiel Elliott catches that pass, if he gets a good pass, that is a touchdown. Instead, it most likely turnover on downs.
That's the thing, and this was wide open in that scenario. You had 6, but you end up, I think, with 3 on that possession. Now, with that being said, it's not the only time that they've missed some opportunities.
Yeah, not only missed opportunities. So we have turnovers, we have missed opportunities, and then right here, let's talk about it, okay? You got go routes, all right? This is simply just all goes. Everybody's played this game, okay? Everybody's played Madden, college football, whatever it might be.
4 verts,
exactly, 4 verts, baby. I'm taking my shot. All right, so let's go. All right, I want you guys to fix your eyes on one man right here. That's going to be Mr. Schoonmaker. All right, so if I have my all goals, everything's perfect, right? I'm running down the seam until you throw the ball, expecting the ball to be here, and your guy goes that way. Why are we going that way? Let's run it back one more time real quick. Okay, again, Schoonmaker is the man I want you to have your eyes on. All right here, okay, boom. But he's running supposedly a goal, but he ends up taking this thing to the corner. This is miscommunication on part of Schoonmaker. He's just not doing what his assignment is. So not only do we have turnovers, not only do we have missed opportunities, but we have assignment errors.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's not an option route. You're not going one way or the other there off of an option for the receiver. That was 4 verts. You're running the play straight ahead, and you just either stopped short of the goal line and then veered off, or whatever ended up happening. It didn't work out well. One more play here to break down. I want you to go a little in depth here.
All right.
Because this is a coverage sack in the fact that the New Orleans Saints in the red zone had it covered up. What happened that didn't allow Dak Prescott to get a pass off?
There's a lot of things. So let's go ahead and run the motion first so I can get everybody set up. Okay, we're going to have Jalen Tolbert coming across the formation. Boom. All right, so we go from a dual set. Okay, there's 2 receivers on each side. Now we're in a 3 receiver set. Boom, pause it right there. Now, I wanted to talk about concepts. One thing that is happening too often is we're running some of the similar concepts. So we have a corner route and we have an under route. That is what we call a smash concept. Right here in the middle, you're going to have Brandon Cooks. He has the option to come here, and then he can go this way, he can go this way, or he can go that way, all right, if he runs it the right way. Okay, and then CeeDee Lamb is going to run right here, and he's going to be in the back of the end zone. So right here, you have a lot of different options for Dak Prescott. Let's take a look and see what happens. Oh, the ball is snapped, all right. Pause it right now. Right off the back, okay? We talked about the smash concept. He's coming underneath right here. We're going to the corner with Tolbert. We have 2. We have 1, 2, three defenders that are going to take that concept away. Okay, now we could easily sit out here and throw Schoonmaker all day long if he was just to sit there. He doesn't have to run in. He literally could just sit here and make this guy drive on him. But he doesn't do that. So what happens? Well, this guy is able to pass him along to the next man up. The next man right here, Schoonmaker is taken up by him. So he's able to drift back. So you're able to get double coverage on Tolbert. Okay, so he's taken away. All right, so X all these guys out. All right, that's not happening. Okay, boom, perfect. What's happening next? Well, now you have Brandon Cooks. What did we say he had the option to do? He could take it over the top into this vacant space over here. He can go back out or he can go this way. But he doesn't run a great route. He literally just takes his route and just runs across the field. So that's a no-go. Now you have CeeDee Lamb at the bottom of the screen who's going to run the deep route in the back of the end zone, and it just takes so much time. How many defenders do you have taking up CD? 1, 2. So that's not really an option either. And then you have to come back here and look at the protection. Boom. Go ahead and play it through a little bit. As we talk about those concepts, tops not taken up, right, because everybody doesn't do their job up here, right? CeeDee Lamb's at the bottom of the screen. His route's taking way too long. Brandon Cooks in the middle, runs right into the defense. And because of that, Dak Prescott is sitting back here. Let's rewind a little bit more. Dak Prescott is sitting back here already in the shotgun, which is 3 steps. He takes 2 more steps. That makes it a 5-step drop. And then he has to sit and wait. He's trying to push up in the pocket, but when he pushes up in the pocket, pause it, inside pressure on Tyler Guyton over here on the left side. So what was a pocket is no longer a pocket, and it results in a what? A sack. You cannot do this. The concepts are a little bit too predictable. You're running them too frequently. The routes are taking too long to get there, and the protection is not holding up. You accompany that with the fact that you're turning the ball over, you're missing opportunities, and you're missing assignments. It results in you being 30th in the league out of 32 in the red zone.
Only Miami and New England have worse red zone percentages this year than the Dallas Cowboys. When we come back, they may get some reinforcements, though. Micah Parsons will return. Is that enough for the Cowboys to make a charge in the second half following the bye week?
This segment was brought to you by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. This segment is brought to you by the NFL Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan.
Cowboys have dealt with plenty of injuries throughout the 2024 season, but as the bye week comes to a close, some of those guys could be making their way back onto the active roster, back alongside Nate Newton, Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback, Kyle Yeomans. And Barry, I'll start with you. There are a significant number of guys, but we've got 3 right here. Okay. How much of a realistic impact can these guys have returning? We'll start with Micah Parsons.
I think he can have an immediate impact, not only when you talk about the rush defense, but getting after the quarterback and forcing quarterbacks out there to have happy feet and seeing ghosts out there. He brings that level of rush to the quarterback situation, and not only helping the front 7, but it helps out the backs or the backs secondary as well, because that quarterback has to get the ball out fast. That's when those guys like Diggs, Bland can jump routes out there and start taking the football away.
The reality is you need somebody that the opposing offense fears. And right now, on the defensive front, there's nobody that they fear. So getting Micah Parsons back, you have to respect him as a player, but you better fear him too, because guess what? He can beat you any which way in terms of man-to-man. So if you better double team him, you better chip him, you better do something. He changes the game plan of the offense, and that's the presence that he has on the field.
Michael, come back hungry, my friend, because like Isaiah said, you always have 2 sets of eyes on you, especially in the pass rush situation, and that'll make it better for that back end.
What about Bland? What about Deron Bland? How much can he help?
You know what? I've been waiting on this kid to come back because we need somebody to start making plays. I'm not saying Diggs can't make plays, but I think Bland is a better guy for making those bigger plays. And when he come back, he's going to get some oomph to that back end. And he will tackle.
We know that Bland's an all-pro cornerback. And whenever you have an all-pro cornerback, he's going to have a huge impact on the field, not only in his presence, but his ability to cover. But I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what does this Mike Zimmer defense look like when you have 2 all-pro cornerbacks on the field simultaneously, plus a really good Jordan Lewis in the slot. I want to see a change defensively, and hopefully Mike Zimmer brings that when Bland gets back.
And that's exactly what I want to see. Like you just said, you're going to have 2 all-pro corners on the outside. Jordan Lewis is playing the best he's played, in my opinion, since he's been with the Dallas Cowboys, man in that slot position out there. And you got to have a guy that can take the football away. This is a guy with 14 interceptions in his first 2 years. He's a proven ball hawk out there. They need takeaways to get the offense in better positions, and Bland, I believe, is that guy that can do that.
And I've got one more for you. Nate Newton specifically. Tyler Guyton, the left tackle, missed the last game and a change a little bit. How much can he help?
Right now, he's a liability. Just being honest, we got to help him. He's got to work on his technique. He's got to get his confidence back. He's got to understand that he's got a good enough feet to get around, to run guys around the horn. He got to stop jumping out of there so quick and giving guys a direct lane to his quarterback. And I wish I could be a little bit more positive, but right now I just got to give you the real of the situation. We're going to have to give him a lot of help.
Well, and reps can help that as
Yes.
well, as long as he gets into the fold. He missed time in training camp, in the preseason, now in the regular season, so getting him back out there, that's at least a step in the right direction. When we come back, Cowboys are off, so it gives us an opportunity to look around the NFL. We'll take a look at the other NFC East foes and what they have on the horizon.
This segment was brought to you by the NFL Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan.
So the NFC East is in full swing this week. Without the Cowboys in the fold, there's what the NFC East standings look like. It's Dan Quinn and the Washington Commanders there at the top. We've got some games to watch this weekend for those that may not have a Cowboys game to watch, of course. Still got some NFL football. Nate, I'll start with you. Which game do you have your eye on?
I got the Eagles, Giants. We're all chasing, including the Cowboys, Dan Quinn's Commanders.
Ooh, that's a fun one overall. Of course, both teams right there at the top of the NFC East, and both teams playing well right now, but maybe not perfect in the case of the Eagles. Isaiah, what you got?
I'm going to take a look at those Commanders as they take on the Panthers. And I think mainly from the standpoint of we know that's a relatively easy opponent in the Panthers, but I want to see how consistent are these guys going to be over there in Washington. Are they going to put the pedal to the metal, or are they going to ease up and let Panthers get a win?
And that's the thing about the Panthers. They don't really know what they're doing at quarterback. They were with Bryce Young, of course, former top overall pick, and then they flipped to Andy Dalton, and they haven't necessarily won much with Andy Dalton as well. They're still 1-5 overall, but can the Panthers try and close the gap against the Commanders? Barry, which one you got?
I got a rematch of last year's Super Bowl, Chiefs versus the San Francisco 49ers. And look, Brock Purdy has been playing amazing so far this season, but he goes against the Chiefs defense. That's the number one defense, I believe, in the National Football League right now. We understand what Patrick Mahomes brings to the table, and I wish that they can beat this San Francisco 49ers team just so, they don't get too far ahead in that NFC race.
Yeah, I think the NFC race, but do you really want to face the 49ers off of a loss?
We'll have to play them anyways.
That's true. That's true. I just wanted to ask. I think I would rather face a 4-3 49ers team than a 3-4 49ers team. But we'll see how things work.
Boys.
That's exactly what it is. All right, when we come back here on Special Edition, keys to a successful bye week. We usually give our keys to the game. How does Dak Prescott and company get things back on track?
Closed captioning is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today. And to watch more Dallas Cowboys content on your connected TV, download the Cowboys Now app on Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV. Special Edition, presented by AT&T, was brought to you by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. And by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
In collaboration with Arlington ISD, Whataburger, and the Dallas Cowboys, over 5,000 5th and 8th grade students were given a guided tour for art inspiration in one of the nation's most iconic stadiums at AT&T Stadium. Since 2015, this unique initiative has introduced over 40,000 Arlington ISD students to the world of art through hands-on experiences with the Dallas Cowboys art collection at AT&T Stadium. Welcome back in to Special Edition, everybody. Alongside Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, and Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Isaiah, I'll start with you. Keys to a successful bye week.
Get better mentally, get healthy physically, and get your mind right for the marathon.
Yeah, take this time to get healthy. Do whatever you need to do, whether it's treatment, hot tub, cold tub. Get ready for the rest of this season so you can make that run.
Health, health, health. These guys have spoken on it. We've told you the whole deal how to do it. Let's go.
I think here is the big thing. With the collective bargaining agreement calling for at least 5 days off through a bye week, there's not a ton of practice that's happening for everybody out there, but this coaching staff has to do the self-scouting. They've got to find a way to these across-the-hall meetings between coordinators and head coach, got to find a way to get better going into that San Francisco matchup because, wow, That's going to be a wild one out on the West Coast. Cowboys travel to San Francisco next week. We will see you next week with more Special Edition.